Hey there! Baby, I've been here before. I've seen this room. I walked this floor. I used to live alone before I knew you. I've seen your flag on the marble arch. Love is not a victory march, it's a cold. And it's a broken hallelujah. Once upon a time, there was a lady called Gourmet Pens, and she decided that she needed her own ink, and people agreed. So I thought that we would do today. Sorry. Sorry. I thought that what we would do today was have a look at this ink. Now, what is this ink? This is Gourmet Pens Pink. Pink? Gourmet Pens Pink. I have trouble talking today, I am sorry. As you can see, it comes in an Ackerman bottle. You can tell because it says Ackerman. Okay, where do you get this? From Ackerman. In The Hague, it's a fountain pen store. What about Ackerman in Amsterdam? That's a different store. Happens to have the same name, doesn't sell the ink. Really? Yes. Gourmet Pens Pink, exclusive ink. You get it at Ackerman. There are other shops that have it. Some other people carry it. Van Ness in the US has been known to carry it. Lemur Ink has been known to carry it. I'm Black Lay Wines in Toronto has been known to carry it. Do these people have it now? I don't know, because I am not those people. Right? Right. You can buy it at the stores at Ackerman, and then people say, but the shipping is incredibly high. Yeah, the shipping is incredibly high because it's international shipping of a glass bottle, and that tends to increase shipping cost. I have to explain all these things because otherwise 5 people will all ask about this, will comment negatively on this, will be very, very upset that they have to pay $20 in shipping. Yeah, that's what international shipping is like. When I was in the Netherlands and I would order something from the US, like 2 pens, I would have to spend $40, $50 in shipping. Okay, this is normal. It's normal for international shipping. Anyway, you see, these videos are getting longer and longer because I have to explain all these things, right? Because otherwise people can't follow along with the steps. Yeah, so that's kind of the reality of how this works. Okay, today we're going to look at Gourmet Pens Pink. And I thought that would be kind of fun, because it's been out for a while, but I just didn't get to do this. But I thought today I'm going to ink up a whole bunch of pens. We're going to see this ink in action, and that's pretty much it. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Let's get to it. Okay, so let's have a look at Gourmet Pens Pink. I have a bit of a lineup of pens I thought it would be interesting to test this with. This is, strictly speaking, a fine nib. I really don't think I have an extra fine nib, so I'm going to treat this as an extra fine simply because this is definitely very, very fine. Stipula Etruria Magnifica. It's not a pen review, right? So this is as extra fine as I can make it. I'm sorry, I don't have anything else. Then let's do a fine Leonardo Momento Zero. A medium nib Visconti Opera Elements. Also a gold nib, just in case that matters. And quite a wet nib. I thought that would be useful, or might be useful, to point out as well, so we can see a bit of a slightly drier, somewhat wetter writer. How about a broad nib? I have here the Scribo Fil. Also gold, but a little less wet than the Visconti. And then I thought we would do something just for the fun of it. Here is a Classic Pens LM1 converted into, or actually, what do you call that, ground into an Architect grind by the Toronto Pen Company. So this really is not meant for cursive, but because I did everything else in cursive. So here you have a broad nib. That I thought would be nice to kind of show off this in a wider line. Now I will get back to wide lines in just a second, but I thought what I would do first is a bit of flexi writing, because this happens to be a titanium nib that I have found can handle a bit of flex. Now, I'm not going to write the Quick Brown Fox entirely in Flexi Writing because that's going to take a long time and I don't want to waste your time. So how about this? There you go. Flex. And then finally, what I thought we would do is take a 6mm Pilot Parallel and do the triple threat test, where you have one layer. You could do this. Well, it usually has no issues with that. Or two, or three coats, right? Now I kind of want to let this wait a little bit so that it is at least a little dry before I put on my next layer of ink. What do we have? Let's talk a little bit about that. It's a pink ink. This is not a color I see myself using on an everyday basis, but there are a couple of things that I really like about it. And one of them that I like a lot is one of those things I like a lot is the shading. It does shade very well. If you look at this, I will put pictures on the website so you can actually look at this up close. But I really like that shading aspect of this ink. I also think it is legible, and I think you could use this in different contexts because it is not a hot pink that will be completely unusable in a professional context, for example. Okay, so let's do the second pass to look at more saturation. I will let dry for just a minute as well. And what I also like is that even in the finer nibs, you do get to see some of that shading. It is of course not as pronounced as it would be in a broader nib, or in a very broad nib, but you do see it a little bit, right? It is there. If you look at this G, for example, you can see a bit of shading in there. So there is always that, which I think is nice, and I like shading inks, so there is that. Okay, final pass. This is mainly something that you will see in the picture. You will see the effect of the different levels of ink coverage / saturation in it. And that's all there's to it. So if you want this ink, ackerman.ink, I-N-K, you can order it there. There is an English language version. There is all that stuff going on. I guess we should do one more thing, huh? I'll show you in a second. Okay, let that dry. So that's ordering it directly from the source, ackerman.ink, but as I said, Vanessa I know that Ley Wines had it, Lemur Ink has it, or has had it, so there are different options to get it. Of course, ideally we would like to make this, the same thing goes for my ink, right? We would like to make this available in every country. But bear in mind, we are not a company, we are just private people, right? And it's a lot of work to do all this stuff. So at this point, I do not think there will be someone carrying this in East Timor, for example. Like, I don't think it's going to happen. So there is a US carrier, there is a Canadian carrier, there is a European carrier. We do what we can, okay? If you have a favorite pen shop where you live and you want them to carry this ink, maybe talk to that pen shop. Okay, water. Let's see what happens, because I haven't actually tested this. I don't know how waterproof this ink is. No claims are made on the box as far as I can see, but I was just kind of curious. Now we just have to sit here, don't we? Yeah, so in the meanwhile, let me just show you the bottle once more, because the cool thing, of course, about the Ackerman bottles is how they work, right? So you have, this is a strange angle, I know it is, but I kind of have to make this fit in the camera. I'll zoom out a little bit. The cool thing, of course, is that you have this glass bead. So you trap the ink in the neck of the bottle. It's very, it's very hard to show you this, because once I turn this over, it's going to drain. But you trap ink there and you dip your pen in there. So it's kind of neat that you can really use your ink up, right? Theoretically. 60 milliliter bottles, they're $17.50 in euros. What? That expensive? Yeah, it's that expensive, but that's the way it is. If you want it, that's the price. Again, I'm sorry, I don't want to sound sarcastic, but I am so tired of all these kinds of comments continuously. It really kind of wears you out at some point. So that's the price. If it's too expensive, you're free not to buy it. It is a free world. I'm not forcing you to buy anything. You can make your own choices. Okay? Okay, so what do we have here? Well, it's still legible. I will say that. It's definitely, it's lost some of its luster, but it seems like it's still kind of holding up. So I don't know if this, I wouldn't call this waterproof, but again, that's also not the claim made, but it's interesting. It's not completely gone. So I will make sure there's a picture of this on the website when this is fully dry, and you'll be able to see how well it held up. That's all there's to it. I hope this was useful, and I will gladly see you later. Bye-bye.